RFM News for our sponsor, Guardian Jewellery, Toronto Town Square and the Esplanade, Warners Bay.
It's 2 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Jacinta with 2 New RFM Hunter News. Police have arrested a man suspected of robbing a Mayfield service station in the early hours of the morning. The 21-year-old man was picked up in Hanbury Street in connection with a 6 a.m. hold-up of a Maitland Road 7-Eleven store, during which an employee was threatened with a knife and a sum of money was stolen. The suspect continues to assist police with their inquiries. Police and the RSPCA are conducting investigations into a site at Keenbar near Cessnock as the potential site for a mass grave of greyhounds. Greyhound Racing New South Wales is urging anyone with information into the matter to call their hotline on 1800 680 174. Local greyhound trainer Bob Whitelaw says although Greyhound Racing New South Wales is being open with the issue, they were the one who lost control.
It's a bit like this. Greyhound Racing New South Wales were in control and they were steering the ship, but they lost control of the ship. There's no two ways about that. And the failure of them to act on the evidence and the evidence provided to them has led to where we are today.
Meanwhile, Greens MP John Kay doubts if a greyhound industry can exist without some form of animal cruelty.
We keep hearing about changes being made and changes in the board in New South Wales, but what we don't know is whether the underlying practices of the industry have changed and whether indeed there can be an industry that works and also at the same time respects animal welfare.
A former Knox grammar teacher who disappeared from his Port Stephens home in February may have fled the country, New South Wales police say. 52-year-old Christopher Fotis is the subject of a police manhunt in Australia and overseas, and his mother has issued a plea for him to phone home. Fotis's disappearance comes after he failed to front a royal commission into allegations of child sex abuse dating back to the 1980s. State planning officials have today thrown their support behind the major expansion of a Newcastle fuel terminal in the face of serious health and environmental concerns. It comes as storage giant Stolthaven is granted approval to increase fuel imports at its Mayfield facility from 300 million to more than 1 billion litres annually. However, the EPA's worries are focused on potential releases of the toxic chemical benzene amid concerns emission limits have been breached in the past. John Hayes from the Mayfield Correct Planning and Consultation Group says the company must commit to stamping out any potential cancer risks.
Sometimes there's no safe level for carcinogenic things. Take cigarettes, for example. What safe level is it okay to smoke? And now that template can be put across other industries. Sometimes there are no safe levels, and we would hope that planning have taken all these matters into proper consideration and that there's proper control.
Strong winds and dangerous surf are predicted for tomorrow and Friday, and Newcastle beaches have been placed on standby. It is anticipated the beaches will be closed, and lifeguards are urging beachgoers to avoid ocean swimming, surfing and rock fishing as they monitor the changing conditions. Newcastle beachgoers are advised to stay out of the water and exercise caution near coastal areas, especially with young children. Mining giant Darracon has been hit with a $3,000 fine from the Environment Protection Authority for violating its environmental commitments at the Martin Creek Quarry. The EPA found issues with the quarry's sediment fences, which had significant holes in them, allowing sediment to pass through. The EPA's acting Hunter Regional Manager Mitchell Bennett says the fine only shows their commitment to protecting the hunter.
They occasionally had to take regulatory action in other circumstances for this sort of thing. The two infringement notices that we issued to the Martins Creek Quarry just show how seriously we take the protection of waterways in the Hunter region.
This year's Anzac Day will give the residents of Singleton the chance to gaze upon a new 1.5 metre tall bronze flame plinth war memorial. The memorial will be located next to Singleton Civic Centre following the decision to move Anzac Day services from Burdekin Park due to issues surrounding the park's bat population. Mayor John Martin says Anzac Day services are always a well-backed community event.
It's always been a very important event in Singleton. These dawn services, which have always been held, are very well attended, and I wouldn't dare guess at the numbers, but thousands of people, I would say, have attended dawn services, as well as we still have an Anzac Day march at 11 o'clock, and the ceremony there is always well attended.
In finance, the All Ords is up 23.7 points at 59.16, and one Australian dollar is buying 76.60 US cents. Now with sport, Reece Wicks.
The Newcastle Knights have tweaked their starting lineup for Friday night's Round 6 blockbuster against Cronulla, following the side's first loss of the season against the Dragons on Easter Saturday. Chris Houston moves to second row for the injured Beau Scott, with David Fa'alongo to join Joseph Tapine on an extended bench after 2 weeks at the front. Meanwhile, Corbin Sims will play alongside brother Tariq for the first time in red and blue after being named in the starting lineup, following his return from suspension. Jets owner Nathan Tinkler's come under fire for continuing to back embattled coach Phil Stubbins in the wake of Monday's 2-0 loss to Perth. Fans expressed their anger with a giant banner spread across 3 grandstand bays, calling for Stubbins' head to no avail, Tinkler instead vowing to give the coach a chance to redeem himself next season. And Maitland-born rugby league star Luke Dawn is being praised for his record-setting effort, becoming the highest-scoring overseas player in the UK Super League. That's sport. I'm Reece Wicks.
2 New RFM News Time is 2:05.